Now, it doesn't look very frightening, does it? But for some people, and by that I mean myself, planting a spring bulb can be very daunting indeed. But thankfully, help is at hand in the form of the green fingers of top gardener Martin Cox. Martin, first of all, have I got any reason to be quaking in my welly boots?
Absolutely not. Bulbs are the easiest plants you can grow. Plant them, water them, and in a few months' time they'll explode into life, filling your garden with colour.
What should I be looking for then when I go out to buy a bulb?
What you need to do is look at them really carefully. Reject any that are spindly, mouldy, squishy, or they're already coming into growth. What you want is something like this. It's nice and firm, skin's intact, and there's no growth there. One of the easiest way of growing bulbs is to grow them in pots. It's incredibly versatile. You can arrange them on a patio, arrange them on a deck, or if you live in a flat, you can even have them on your window ledge. So it gives people the chance who don't have a garden to grow flowers.
And of course, there are all kinds of shapes and sizes of the pots you can use.
Pots are all shapes and sizes, and I like to mix it up. So I use a variety of containers, which looks more interesting.
Now, I'm presuming it's just a case of shoving the compost in, chucking the bulb in, away you go, simple as that.
Absolutely not. Terracotta pots generally have one hole right in the base of the container. Now what happens is if you put compost straight into that, it'll either come out and make a mess on your patio, or the hole can get blocked up with compost. And then what happens, when it rains, you'll get a build-up of water at the base of the container, which could rot the bulb.
So what can you do about that?
What you need to do is cover the hole. A piece of terracotta or a pebble will do. What you need to do is make sure the piece fits. So here we've just got a broken piece, and mind your eyes.
How exciting!
Then you just put the terracotta over the hole. From here on in, we fill it with compost.
Okay, let's do it.
Break it up as you put it in, because sometimes you'll find lumps in the compost.
Okay. How deep should you be planting a bulb then?
With most bulbs, you have to plant them about 3 times their depth. So look at the size of that and plant it 3 times as deep. But you have to be guided by variety, as some bulbs have quite specific needs. It may sound simple, but you need to plant the bulb the right way up.
Yes.
And with this, the flat side, where these little roots are, indicates the bottom. What I'm going to do with this pot is, rather than just put one right in the centre, I've got room for 3 in here. They can be quite close together, but just make sure they're not touching, because that can lead to rotting. Now all I have to do is fill it up.
So we've dealt with the pots. Let's go into the garden.
Let's go.
What is this piece of equipment? What are you going to do with it?
It's a bulb planter. It makes bulb planting incredibly easy. You could use a trowel, but it's quite hard on the wrist. This is dead simple and perfect if you've got lots of bulbs to plant.
Okay, show me how it's done.
Really simple. Put it there. You lift up, turn it around like a corkscrew as you come out. Lift out a core of soil, and you've got a hole just there. What I'm planting is Allium Purple Sensation, one of my favourite bulbs, and also the spring flower bulb of the year for 2009. And what I need to do now is drop it to the bottom of the hole, making sure it lands the right way. Get the soil from the core and simply drop it back in. An Allium Purple Sensation will flower between May and June. It's a fabulous bridge between spring and summer.
So now things are going to get a little bit more complicated. We've got a large pot here. What are you going to do with it?
I'm going to use it for a really exciting way of growing bulbs called lasagna planting. I'm going to plant bulbs in several layers. And what I've done is chosen 3 bulbs that will give a succession of interest for several months. I've got tulips, daffodils and dwarf iris.
Okay, then show me how it's done.
Well, first of all, we need to put some crocks over the hole in the bottom of the pot.
As learned earlier.
Yep. To help the drainage.
Yep.
Then I'm going to put my first layer of compost in. What you need to do is put a good 5 centimetre layer in there.
Okay.
When you look at your bulbs, decide which are the largest.
Yeah.
So they go at the bottom of your lasagna planting. So here we go.
Quite a few in there, aren't there?
I'm packing them in. Yeah. But what you want is an explosion of colour.
We've got another 5 centimetres coming over the top of that,
so
I guess.
Another layer here. I'm going to put this in more gently this time, because I don't want to disturb the bulbs too much now I've put them in.
So remembering again to have the
crumbling
flat
as I
down
go.
and the roots down as well with the bulb.
Yeah, absolutely.
So next level now then, what are we putting in now?
Go for our daffodils, and I'm using Narcissus tete-a-tete. We're looking at a mid-spring for the daffs, and our tulips will be later, and our irises are quite early.
Next level of soil then, I guess?
There we go. And then we're going to finish up with our smallest bulbs, which are these fabulous little irises, Iris reticulata.
So I guess we put another layer of
Final
compost
layer.
on top of that,
Yep.
and we're ready to
and
go.
Finish off.
Lovely. Now,
There we
moving
go.
across, I can't help but notice this incredibly strange kind of rocket-like monstrosity you have here. What are you going to do with this?
I think it looks more like a witch's hat from a distance, actually. I've taken an ornamental obelisk, quite a short one. You don't end up with anything too tall because that's going to be quite difficult to plant up. But what I've done is covered about half of it with plant support netting, which I've held in place with garden twine. I've then filled in with compost from the top, and once I got to about here, I then put another piece of plant support netting here, tied it into place with twine and filled from the top with compost, packing it down as I go to make sure it's quite firm so it's not falling out the holes.
What kind of effect are you going to get?
Well, you know grape hyacinths?
Yeah.
A single grape hyacinth looks like Marge Simpson's hairdo. This is going to be the ultimate Marge Simpson hairdo. Make a hole, as such,
Yeah.
push in your bulb, and then cover it over. You might need to steal a bit of compost, but
So when are we actually going to see some results?
well, hopefully in a few weeks you'll start to see the bulbs sprout from the compost, which is a good indicator that it's going to be a successful pyramid. But by mid-spring, this should be in full bloom.
Lovely. Now we've reached then the end of our gardening day. What do we do now?
Well, I think we've been out here for quite a long time, so let's go and put our feet up and have a cup of coffee.
Rock and roll. So spring is well and truly with us. Martin and I have had the longest coffee break in the history of gardening. And Martin, everything's looking pretty good.
It's looking great, isn't it? Hyacinths are up and they smell absolutely gorgeous. Allium purple sensation down there, you can see there's massive leaves. That'll be in flower from June, carry on until July. Lasagna planting here. We had the little dwarf irises, they came up in February. Now they're followed by the daffodils, going over slightly, but as you can see, there's some tulips coming up and some really nice fat buds in there, so that will keep us going until late spring. And then we've got Marge Simpson here, the Tower of Blue Muscari.
And that could look even better next year.
Yeah, I'm hoping the bulbs will spread and it'll be absolutely smothered in blue flowers.
Well, Martin, thank you very much. And I must be honest, I think I now have the confidence to try and recreate Marge Simpson's haircut in my back garden, which is something I never thought I'd say.
Okay, that's great. Go for it.